number 2. This is what
Hello?
it's telling me this morning. No, this is error number 2 for the. I don't understand this one.
What error? I'm not seeing any error now.
This is the what's it called? I can't access the database. It's not coming
It's
up.
not printing any error now. You're not telling it to do anything. Is there anything on your database at all?
Not yes. I have something. I have only one demo database. That's all. Oh. I've not even done anything. I just created a database
Okay,
name.
it's fine.
That's all.
It's
Then
fine.
try to
It's fine.
connect.
It's fine. So, what I want to do for you, what I'll do for you now is, okay. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share a sample of something similar on my hand. It may not exactly work for you, but it will just point you in the right direction in terms of connecting. Okay, so
No, wait. Sir, excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Aside from connecting issue, sir,
yes,
are you hearing me? Right
I'm
now,
with
I
you.
can't even access my database.
I don't get. Do you have PG admin on your system?
I have PG admin on my system, and this is it. The error is giving me is I don't even understand. It's telling
Um,
me that the PG admin server could not be contacted.
I'm not seeing that error on your screen currently. That's the problem.
I'm not seeing that error.
I'm not seeing that error on your screen. Or
Um,
is it just me?
it's just him or it's everybody. Let me share it again. Yeah.
Okay, PG admin could not be contacted. Okay. All right. So close. What happens? Where did you get it? When did you get this error?
This morning,
Like, what happened that led to this error?
nothing. I just on my system and then I put on the PG admin and then this is what I got. It was working
Uh,
fine yesterday.
okay, you click on configure. Let's see the options. That is fine. Okay, PG admin for server could not be contacted. Um, okay. What are you having on your screen? Because on my end, I'm still seeing the same page.
Ah, damn. I'm having fixed port and it's asking me to change my port number. And the port number was
I'm coming. Let me.
5432. Can you see my screen? Just, yeah. Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Will you reshare your screen like you did the other time?
I should reshare it. You can. I
Yeah.
should reshare the screen again.
Mm.
Okay. Okay. Coming.
We can see it now.
Okay. It's just our facilitator.
I guess you went to go and do something. I don't know, but it's muted.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know I was muted.
Imagine.
Okay, sorry. Did you not say? So let's.
Welcome, sir.
Yeah.
So this is the configuration you were asking for.
All
Page you were
right. So
asking
click
for.
on save.
I should say
Yeah. Okay,
it
so
said
this is
the
the thing.
pot
Do you
that's
have
already
any?
been used.
Yeah. You have anything? This is what I wanted to go ask you before. Is there anything that is running on port 5432 on your system?
Yeah, it's actually the Postgres SQL that is running on that port.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
cancel, shut down this app and load Postgres again. So that's what I was going. PG admin again.
Okay, sir.
Sorry, just relax. So we have to also
Yes,
go to
sir.
this class. So we'll just try a bit. So if it doesn't work, we might have to find probably maybe after the class to try and solve that problem with Postgres. But
Okay, sir.
let's just see what we can do now. So in let's say 5 minutes, then we'll start the class.
Okay, sir.
All right. So all right. Is there any other person facing this particular challenge? Anybody?
Mm, at the moment, sir,
Another person.
at the moment, sir, I'm not facing it because uh, uh, I've not actually connect my database. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I
Can you imagine?
I was kind of down yesterday. I could not do anything. I was not able, so I could not
Okay.
work on my system. So, but I've done the other part, the to do list, just connecting it to the database. But I'm so sure that I'm going to work through that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Alpha just saying.
He's still trying to come up, waiting for it to start.
Okay. So can you go back to your code, the one
My
that you showed me?
code.
Yeah,
Okay.
from VS Code. All right.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes, code one. Database. Here.
Okay. Like I said before, actually, I'm not getting any error. I'm not seeing any error from this right now.
Mm,
Since we don't have an host name. So what I want you to try right now is to run. I'm going to copy a command for you. Okay.
okay.
And just going to see you try that out. Let's
Okay.
see if I'm just going to copy this command for you from tutorials points. Um, okay, and let's see. Can you see the command? Yeah, so
Yes, sir.
add that in before
Copy and
connection
paste.
dot close because you are closing the connection actually.
Okay, so I should put this guys before I close my connection.
Or remove the connection dot close totally oneself.
I think I removed it already. I
I'm
don't
still
have it.
seeing it.
Okay.
I'm still seeing it on your screen. Yeah.
So I should
So
add
run this
that code.
command right now without connection dot close and let's see what happens. Run this file.
Same thing.
Okay.
Nothing happens.
Yeah, well, that we're not still getting an error. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's run this command, put it right underneath it.
Underneath the try, as
No,
in
just after
within
your
the
password.
try,
After your
or
password now.
if you say after my password, is it inside
Not
the
in the
connection?
bracket. No, no,
I
no,
was
not inside the connection
doing
bracket. No, no. So this will
okay,
stand out on its own. Yeah,
like this.
exactly. No, make sure it's under the try block. Yes. Yeah. So let's see. Okay, we need to define cursor. I'm coming. So cursor has not been defined. Okay, so you need to add just above, right? Something like so, right? is equal to connect the cursor. If I remember that command correctly, let me just confirm. Yeah,
So it's equal to.
connect the cursor, open and close brackets.
Okay. So like this, right? And I
Yeah,
should close the bracket.
yeah, definitely. You have one bracket there that is in red. Yeah, so run the command. Let's see what happens. Okay,
Connection established.
blah, voila. Okay,
Voila, it's
so
working.
yeah, thank
Okay,
God.
so now you're saying, thank you, sir. So now you're saying I don't need
So
the host name.
so you can add it, but your host name was actually not correct. So you should probably be having something like localhost or something like that. But I'm saying that you can connect without those variables. Without those variables, okay. The other problem we're probably having your host name was not correct. That's why you were getting host name was not correct. The other problem is you were not getting any results because you were not getting fetching any data from your database. Do you understand?
Yes, yes.
You get so that's why we're having an empty result. The so this fetch one is just going to fetch one row of data or whatever you have from a database. Like for instance, if I show you my own case, let me share my screen so that you would see.
Okay.
So I'm not going to help you out with the rest of the assignments, obviously. So, but at least connecting, then it should. Can you see my screen?
No, not yet. Yes,
Okay.
we
Oh,
can.
well, no. All right. So if you notice that in my own version of connect.execute, in your own, you are just clicking select version. Um, Actually,
Yeah.
for my end, you are seeing select dot from to do list app tags. So this to do list app tags is a name of a table. Okay.
Database
So
table.
yeah. So I'm
DB
telling Python.
table.
Yeah, I'm telling Python. Telling Python to fetch to get data from this table. Okay, and I want to print out. Right, I want to print out the first row. Okay, do you understand? Is there any question? All right. Then another thing is it's actually not nice that your password is so visible to the entire universe. Okay. Can you say so? Yeah, you can have something like this. You can have a constant.py in your in the same in the root directory of your project. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Then you can have a variable for your password. All right. Then you can store it in there. You get. Then you can import that
Yeah.
constant variable from install that
File.
import
Okay.
that file. So from there you can just do
Import.
constant dot password. So it keeps your work kind of secure.
Clean
Yeah,
and
grab.
secured.
Yeah. So that's just the general idea. So connecting should not be that difficult. So at least it shows your database is working. Okay. So I don't know why pitch a admin is acting
Yes.
that way. It's up right now.
It's hub and it's still the same thing.
Still the same thing. Okay. So
Yes.
probably after the class we'll talk about why that is happening. So we have spent
Okay.
time. Any other? Yeah. Hope you are fine now. You are more at ease. Okay. So any other issues
Actually, yeah.
regarding? Okay. So any other question regarding the assignment? Okay. So let's move on. So for today will be okay. I believe my team lead that handled the last session explained OOP, object oriented programming properly to you guys. I'm not even, I should not be asking, I'm sure. he probably taught you well, and I saw that he gave you links to materials. So the link he actually sent you is a very nice one. Actually, it is actually the one I used to learn object-oriented programming. So I would love you guys to actually learn or actually follow through the tutorial. So object-oriented programming is actually very important for us in Python. In general, just a quick recap of the last class. Hope you are hearing me, please. Am I audible? Or am I the only one here?
Yes, I
Yes,
am
yeah.
audible.
All right. So you can help me out in the chat box so that I don't feel like I'm talking to myself. Okay. So generally, if you look at Python, or I don't know if I showed you, object-oriented programming is actually how it was built. So if you do something like if you have a string, okay, and you type something like you have print and you have something like type of this string, you see that it returns something like class in then quotation string in class quotation integer then class list. So those data types, string, class, integer, list, dictionaries, and all of that, they're actually classes, okay? And those things we do with them, like if you do this something like the list dot append or slicing methods, okay, or you're even checking the length of a list, for instance, they are all methods that are particular to that list. So if you remember from OOP, you have a declaration of the class. So let's say you have the class dot dog, let's say a dog class, for instance. I want to give it some initial value, so you can define an init method. Okay. And when you define that init method, you can give it something like a name, a color, and all of that. Then you can now start defining methods that the dog can do. So you can have another method called maybe like define back, for instance. Okay. Then you'll be able to write whatever function. So those methods will be the things that that dog can do. Okay, so it does the same thing when you have something like the list dot append, the list dot sort. So they are all methods of the class called list. Okay. So that's just like a quick revision. So today we'll be talking about something slightly different. Some things will just probably be some explanation, a little demonstration, nothing much, and we would then go on to something else. So today we'll be talking about firstly about HTTP methods or HTTP request. So just a quick question. I'm sure we have all done that. Has anybody tried to sign up on a page before? Sign up or log in at one point in time? You've tried to sign up at one point in time on a page, right? I think we've all done that, yeah. So in signing up on a page, at one you notice that they ask you for information and you tell them, oh, okay, this is my name, this is my email address, this is the password I want to use, and this is and these are the and this is probably, let's say it's a social media site. They can also tell you to select something like a username, right? So, what other information do we pass in on such websites? Okay, they can also ask you for a profile picture and so many things. So, basically, you are giving them information. Now, another thing that looks similar, but they are not similar at all, is searching for information on Google, for instance. So, let's say you want to search for the fastest man alive on Google. You go to www.google.com and you type in fastest man alive, then Google will give you a list of results, right? Now, can anybody like guess the difference between those two approaches? Anybody? Anybody?
So you can't get that part very well.
Okay, I said for signing up on a page, for instance, you go to a page and they ask you for your username you want to use, your first name, your last name, middle name, ask you for maybe your age, your address, your date of birth, and all of that. Then you sign up, right? And you also add the password that you feel like using, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
That's
sir.
how the sign up page looks like. And once you do
Yes.
that, they tell you welcome to so 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 and so. Now I
Yes.
said that there's actually a difference between that and going to Google and typing www.google.com and type in the fastest man alive and you click on the search button and Google will just display a bit of results. So I'm asking, can anybody spot a difference between those two things?
Yes, sir.
All right, you can help us out.
Typing something on Google is using Google search to search for something. And
Okay.
basically, it takes you directly to it gives you a lot of options depending on what it has in store in its database. That's Google per se. So you decide the options you want to take. Basically, it just gives you a lot of URLs,
Okay. So in the context of the word,
resources.
okay. So in the context of the word requests, how would you fit in something like that? Okay, so let me just help us. So if you notice in the two cases, the main difference is in one case, the database or the server does not have information about you, right? It does not know your name, you are a newcomer, right? And that's why it is asking you for information. While in the other case, you are asking Google for something that is already present in the Google database. Do we understand?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah.
You
Yes,
get the
sir.
difference. So
Yeah.
now, in the idea of HTTP request, we call post request and the get request. Okay, so for a post request, we talk about things like sign up, registration, because you are actually supplying information to some database. You want to upload a new image or you've not uploaded an image before, you want to upload a new image, you are sending some data to the internet. Let's say you're even using something like an internet calculator. You understand? So you are submitting something like 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, right? Or let's say you are sending a text message, you are sending a WhatsApp message now, you are just typing in hello, hello, good morning, right? You're sending some information. Okay, so even though hello, good morning is something that you've probably sent in multiple times to somebody, it doesn't still mean that it is not a post request. It just means that you are sending it again at that particular point. So it's still a post request because the system will not automatically just type in hello world for you and click on send, right? Now for get request is majorly a search. You are trying to look for something that's already present in the database. Now, so a quick question to help us, or a pop quiz, let me say. Now, between a login and a sign up, is there a difference?
Yeah, there's a difference.
Okay, can you tell us the difference?
Well, signing up, you are putting in your information into the database, while the login, you're basically authenticating, confirming what's already in the database.
Okay, so in a sense, we can say that for the login, you are actually for login, what's going to happen is once you type in your password, it is going to compare and your email or whatever username is going to compare what you are sending, right, with whatever is already present in the database. You get,
Yes, sir.
yeah, so it's more of
Yes,
a
sir.
query. Why for a login, you are actually a sign up rather, you're actually sending in fresh data. Now it brings us to a whole new topic, something called API. Have you heard of the word API before?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, does anybody know the full meaning of API? Okay, okay, let me just
Application programming interface, right?
all right, it's okay, programming interface. Or has anybody made use of API before? Let's also see. Okay,
Yeah.
oh, you have. Wow, that's cool. So yes, so for API, in terms of API, what actually happens is just the same way we do a login and a get request, or a post and a get request, right? API allows us to not just for login or this thing. Now, let me give you an instance. Have you signed up on a page before and they tell you sign up with Google? And once you click on sign up with Google, it automatically does not need to ask you your username or whatever. You just sign up on the page. Has anybody experienced that before?
Yes, they
Yes,
will give us option to sign up through our
yes.
Gmail.
That's a very brilliant example of API usage. Okay. What's
Okay.
actually happening is happening is once you click on sign up with Google, what is going to happen is it's actually going to send a request to get your email, username, and a password, and it's more like an API. It's going to make a call, okay, to get information about this particular person, okay, this particular person, blah blah blah. Because you are most likely using something like Chrome. If you are not using Chrome, for instance, if you are not logged into Chrome, once you click on sign in with Google, it's actually going to take you to a page to authenticate yourself with Gmail. Anybody has anybody experienced that before?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, but if you're using Chrome and you're signed in Chrome, you're already logged in, right? Your can you show your name at the top right, like Wisdom, Idris, something. You can always get your mail there, okay? So it does not need to actually authenticate you. So it's basically going to make that request to Google and say, okay, on Chrome, there's currently a person that is logged in, like okay. Now the person has told us that he wants to use his Google account to sign up on our page. So can we get a username, get his first name, get his last name, and the password he uses for Google? And once Google validates that request, it's going to automatically return it. Abi? So basically, the site is going to send a GET request to Google and it's going to use that to fill up a form for you. Do you understand? Or is it
Yes, sir. We
complex?
are, yes, sir. We are with you, sir. Getting it.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So in that way, API is like very powerful. So we use it for a whole lot of things in Python. Now imagine you want to create a website. Let's say you want to create a simple one for beginners is a weather application. Now I'm not sure there's anybody that read geography. Is weather associated with geography? I think so, right? Weather, geography, weather science. Is it geography? I think it's geography. Well, let me just say it's geography. Or let's say weather science. Now, let's say you want to create a website. I want to create a weather site now. The first thing you want to think of is how do I get data about the weather, or how do I monitor weather changes real time? Right? Are you going to create your own machine? You're going to create your own laboratory, your own system that will be able to detect changes in the weather globally, and it's just going to send that data to a computer where you can do that. So just for you to build a weather app, you're probably going to be doing a lot of things, spending a lot of money, right? But now
Okay.
we have API. There's actually a site called Open Weather something. I can't remember the site.
Yeah,
Openweather.org or
yeah,
something.
yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, so it's actually an open source API for you that you can get data about weather across the globe.
Yeah,
So what you can do is just make API calls to that request. Now you have to be specific though to a particular endpoint. So that site and say, okay, we want to get weather for maybe so country. Let's say let's say Nigeria, or let's even say an entire continent, for instance. Let's say Africa. Now you're going to make an API call to that site. Sometimes they are not free. Once you make an API call to that site, you can directly fetch data from that site, okay, and you would have all the information you need. So probably what you'll be concerned is with how you want data to look like on your page, and it can always work with you and you'll be updating with real time. Do we get the idea?
Yes, sir.
Do we? All right. Another thing we might want to know about this final point before we start a little demonstration. It's not anything big. So another thing you might want to know is that you can also make your own API or have your own API endpoint. So when I mean API endpoint, it's just a point where you can call data from. Okay, that's how it is used. So an API endpoint is usually a URL, okay, to a particular data. Okay, so you can create your own API endpoint. So let's say you what can you create? What can you create? You created a blog post, for instance. You created a blog site, for instance, and you have a whole lot of cool data. You have a very nice looking blog, so fine. A lot of people are using it. And a friend is like, oh, wow, this is cool. I would love to build something like this, but I don't have the time to probably build this from the scratch or create my own content from the start and all of that. And you're like, oh, that's fine. I can help you out. So give me a day or give me 2 days. I'll create an endpoint for you where you can fetch all data about from my website and all of that. Another good usage is, let's say you are working in a team, okay? You're working in a full production team, and Okay, so there's a front end, back end, and probably there's some other functionality. Let's say a machine learning something, a machine learning model that that does something for you. Let's say you have let's say you have something like a rating system. Okay, a rating system, not probably not the regular rating system. Probably this rating system requires you to do some very very funny calculations. Okay, not just like the ones that just calculate how many stars somebody does. Let's even say, let's use that one. Now let's say you want to have a rating system and you don't want to do it in your own code. Okay, something that will get all the amount of likes. Okay, and it's just going to get the average. Okay, and let's say there are some other things to think about. Let's say the number of posts this person makes in a day, the number of comments this person makes in a day, right? The number of likes this person has on his post, and let's say the number of love this person has on his post. Okay, you want to have something that calculates that separately for you, and you don't actually want it in your code. You just want to maybe outsource it to somebody, you get. Or let's say, for instance, this is the perfect example. Now you want to have something like that, but your code was written in, let's say with PHP, for instance. You get, and the system or the script that does that written calculation for you was written in Python. Now we have a problem, because you probably, in one way you face the problem is that you probably want to incorporate Python into your code and you have to do a lot of changes. Whereas what you can tell that Python developer to do is, okay, once you finish creating the algorithm, you know it is working fine. Next thing is, can you create an endpoint for me? So that all I will just have to do is probably passing data from my own end that tells me that, okay, this is the number of likes, this is the number of loves, this is the number of this is the number of that, and send it to you. Once I send it to you, your system is going to calculate all of that and it's going to give me back an output. And once I get back that output, I can take it to my code and just display it on my page, and problem solved. So that's one of the uses of API. So it helps teams. So within teams, you can always send requests to one another. Is that clear? Any question? Any question from anybody? Did I not explain anything well? Hello? Hello? Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, can I no questions here?
All right. So I'm sharing my screen. Can we see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah. So let's just read through. So I'll rush it a bit. So HTTP client sends an HTTP request to a server in form of a request message, which includes the following: a request line, a zero header, an empty line, optionally a message body. Okay, so what I want you to let us quickly see are the different types of request method now. So we have the get method. Get method is used to retrieve information from a given server using a given URL. Okay, so we've seen this. Now the head is also similar again, but transfer status line and the um, header section only. So if you've written a bit of HTML, we usually have something called like header and usually contains some information. So you can always get that header information using the head method. Okay, now post data is used to send data to a server, for example, customer information, file upload, etc. using HTML forms. While put replaces all the current representations of the target resource with the updated content. So you can think of this as more of a update function, right? So delete removes all the current representations of the target resource by the given URL. So basically delete, you want to probably delete whatever you've sent or whatever you have on that endpoint. Connect is to connect tunnel, establish a tunnel to a server identified by URL. So you're probably just connecting to the other end. So options describe the communications and all of that. Okay, all these details, we can read all of that later on. So next thing I want to show you real Python, where are you? Yeah, okay. So yes, to use request in Python, one simple thing is to I think I have one. Okay, let me just open. Say request as Python, 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 Python. Okay, cancel. Okay. Python. Mhm. So basically, you want to import request, right? Now, if you don't have request, you can always run pip install request line system. Okay, right? And so the first thing you want to do is you want to be able to. So once we have this, I think we are good with installing request. Now, so let's just play around with the API. So GitHub has an API endpoint that we can use to test all of this. So let us copy all of this and I'll explain what's going on. So we can create a variable called response and we can just say we want to make a request. So you call your request variable that you imported and it has several methods like get, okay? And you can just type in whatever site is the PS. So I think I have a site that is running currently, localhost 1000. Yeah, so I can see printouts. I have a Django application running on my system currently. Yeah. So this is probably this. Though it's not an endpoint, I should still be able to send a request there. Response content. Yeah. So if I run that, should okay, so let's see what it gets. Okay, you know that that's one for locals, 6,000. Okay. HTTP. Yeah. So I think it should work. All right. So you can see it is giving me something like script and um all of that. So can we see these results? Uh, Hello, can we see my screen? Can anybody see my screen?
Yes, I can see your
Yeah, I
screen.
can see your screen.
All right, so you can do the text. Okay, these are just different formats in which we can get data from a page. So it is going to just right now what this is going to do is since it's not necessarily an endpoint per se or I'm sending any particular data. What is going to happen right now is that it's just going to give me how my HTML, what how my HTML code looks like. Okay, so if I show you the actual project, my HTML is something like this. Um, okay, so this is actually what the page looks like on this end. All right, so all right, so this is what the page looks like. So I can show you something. Let me see if I can find out the creator. So you can see all the pictures right here, each of them, the ID 4, 5. So let me show you. Yeah, so you can see we create awesome content. Can we see that here? Create awesome content, which is what we're saying here. Yeah, create awesome content. I can see tell the story and all of that. So it's just going to return the HTML page. So, but let's just go back and use API.github, com. And all right, so you can see several information from current user area and all of that. Another thing we can check is status code, which is the next thing I want to show you. Charge code, and it's going to give me 200. So every status code number has different meanings. Okay, for instance, I'm very sure you've logged into a page and it's telling you something like 404 error. Has anybody seen that before? 404 error.
Yes, sir.
Anybody?
Yes, sir.
All right, so there are basically status codes that tell us the kind of problem that we have on our page. Now, some sites have that makes their error codes look like some people don't do that. Well, what they do is if they will have different kind of try and accept error and say, okay, if the status code is let's say 500 for instance, rather than just breaking and showing me a status code of 500, it's just going to show me something like something like two, probably incorrectly. So like a very a poor example would be something like, let me do something like content. Now you can see page not found 4 error and all of this. Now this does not look nice. Obviously, if you do this and you let me tweak a particular setting on my Django application to show you what exactly happens in a real life setting. Sorry, give me a moment. Uh, okay, so let me just say false. So if I run that now, yeah, so this is actually what happens in a real life setting, right? Something like this is what happens on a real life setting. So, but some pages have a way to actually tell you that, okay, if you face this error, just show me, probably we have a problem, um, check back later or log in later, something like that. I'll show you how we do that in a bit. So, but there are different kinds of status code. So we can see status code one, anything from 100 plus, okay, 100. You have informational, so it's some form of information. It means the request has been received, and the process is continuing. While for 200, it means the action was successfully received, understood, and accepted, which is what we got. If you remember, uh, sorry, it's not on the sheet. Well, we got 200 right here, and so 300 redirection, 400 client error, okay, and 500 server error. So client error probably means that the user did not write in the correct page, which is why you got 4 error back there. And why for 500 means is the server is coming from the people that produce the website or whatsoever. It means that probably they have a problem on their hand and they need to fix that. Okay, so there are now different categories. You have 200, the request is okay, 201 created, depending on whatever kind of request you actually send. 300 multiple choices, blah blah blah. 400 bad request, the server did not understand. Number 41 unauthorized, so you need probably username and a password. 402 payments required. 403 forbidden. Okay, 404 not found. 405 method not allowed. 406 and so on and so forth. 500 internet server error not implemented. 502 bad gateway. I think I've actually experienced all the 500 errors before. Wow. Yeah. Okay, it's only 501 I have not seen. But I think I've gotten all the other methods. Right. So some balloting terminal like that as well. Okay. So any questions so far? Any questions so far? Any question? Any question? Any question so far from anybody? You have a question? No question. I'm guessing no question. All right. Okay. Thank you. So another thing we can do is to so you've seen the first of text since status code. One thing we can do is to play around with some of these. And another thing is JSON. So JSON lets us to return our request in form of I'm coming, in form of a dictionary. Okay. This won't work actually. Okay, so you can see it's coming out as a form of dictionary. Now it only works if you are actually sending some JSON data to the person. So JSON stands for JavaScript object notation. All right, yeah. So basically, the basic thing you need to know about JSON is that it helps convert data from one form to another. Okay, so preferably we want to use JSON data in working. So that particularly when you are working with HTML, with APIs actually, when you are creating your endpoint, you most likely want to send JSON data. Most times you want to send JSON data so that whatever the person is sending, probably the person will receive it as a dictionary. If the person receives it as a dictionary, it's easier for the person to access that data or send make use of the data. For instance, if you send in data anyhow and the person receives it in bytes, for instance, probably the person is going to face some challenges in working with that information. But with JSON, it's probably going to be converted to a form that is easier for the receiver. Okay. The same thing with on your end, probably you're doing a get request or you are doing a post request. You most likely want to send in JSON data also, so that the server that you're sending that data to is going to receive it in a form that makes a whole lot of sense, not just sending some maybe bytes of data and all of that, and probably the person has to do some converting and yeah, some stress. So JSON is very powerful. Okay, so I think that's the basic thing you need to know about JSON. So we've talked about headers. Okay, so if I click on headers, you probably just get the headers of that the kind of what, right? Okay, so you can see. Let me just let me grab this site and let's open it so that we see what I'm saying. All right, so this is actually the sites we are playing with. Can we see it? Okay, now if I inspect, for instance, so you can see comment. Let's check for the headers. There is around console. Okay, sorry. Console. That's not to show you. Okay, so let me just play pictures. Uh, why is it going to All right, so let's see. Headers. Okay. Um, okay. Uh, let me just use Chrome. Okay, let me open this in Chrome. Voila. Okay, okay, so I think network, so around here, vision, actually a place I used to say that I've forgotten. Does anybody remember? I've forgotten where I usually find that thing. Where because usually around should be here. Okay, I can't actually remember. It's usually somewhere around. What security? Okay, so okay, so that would don't waste time. Let me just. I actually can't remember where I usually find that thing. It is very fun. It's cool. Okay, so we get the headers like server, github.com, date, and all of that. All of that information is usually present on. There's actually a place to find that thing. Actually, so let me check my talk. Okay, and yeah, it's coming. Usually, it's usually here actually. Okay, I think I found it. Okay, all right. Okay, yeah, so you can see response headers, so all of that here. Yeah, I think it should be visible on our whatsoever. Server, blah blah blah. So you can see server, you can see server, you can see date, right? You can see I think catch control, you can see catch control, all of that. So you get all of this information, right, on that page. Okay. And so you can go to several other pages. Sorry, why do I keep opening this? Go to several other pages. So probably this is a get request, so we can do something like try out something like let's see slash current is let's see URL. Let's see if that's gonna work. So we're getting the same error. So let me just see response with JSON. So let's see what happens. Yeah, so method not found, message not found. So we're probably running into a status code error. So let's check the status code and let's see why that doesn't work. So what kind of error did we get here? So 404, we sent in a batch request, okay? So it's not going to work actually because the URL is actually meant to be bitcom.user, okay, slash user. You can see that over here, 41. Okay, so 41 error is coming. 41, 41, 41. 41 is unauthorized. Okay, can you see that this page needs a username and password? So because we're not logged in, it's not going to work. Okay, so the next thing we can just then, so I think that's that for that. So I'll send this link actually, so we can just get familiar with some of these things. So this is actually other ways. This is actually another HTTP pin to learn how to work with Python request and all of that. So is there any question? So you can have to send a post request. You can see they are sending JSON data here. Okay, it's usually nice to use JSON data and that. So any question so that we can go to the next thing we have. Any question? Any question? Any question? Do we have questions? No question. No question. Question from anybody? Okay. In the absence of questions, so let's talk about the next thing. So next up, we are going to be talking about some important stuffs, very cool stuff. Um, okay. So I'm talking about NumPy, pandas, and SciPy. So basically, we can say they are majorly data science libraries. Okay, that we use in for data science for carrying out analysis. Okay, now we want to be able to probably perform analysis on data. At one point, we want to be able to do one thing or the other. Okay, so first thing is you want to import. I have those libraries installed, so you can import pandas, import NumPy, okay, and import SciPy. Okay. So if you don't have them installed, you can do the normal pip install pandas, install NumPy, and install SciPy. Okay. Now, so pandas is quite long for a name, so I can just change that to something as PD. It is usually the convention people like to use, but it can be as anything. Okay, as NP, and I usually use as let's say SY. Let me say SP. Okay. All right. So, any question? I think this is clear now, right? Any question? Anybody? Should I go ahead? Okay, there's anything you want me to say or go back to? Response, response, response. Any question for anybody? Hello? Are we together?
Yeah, yeah. No
No
question.
question.
All right, so please respond so I know that we are working together. Thank you. So now the best way for me to demonstrate this is to one of the best ways is that I would carry out an example. I'll show you how to play around with some things. But first off, I'm going to just show you some basic commands, particularly with NumPy. Okay, I'm going to show you the difference between a list and a NumPy. So and a NumPy array. So I will show you something. Let me say numbers. Okay. Scores. Right. And let me grab. I think I have one here. So probably building up. up to this point. So I'm going to say don't copy up to here. All right, and I'm going to copy this here. Okay, so I have that prepared already. So let me comment this guy out. All right, now I can say print type of sorry, it should be grades. Next type of grades, for instance, and can tell us that right, you're taking so much. Yeah. It's going to tell us grades is a list, right? Now, if I do something like the easiest way to spot the difference, something like grades times two. So if you notice that it just duplicates the list and the list is much longer, right? Now, so let me do something like grades, grades, copy. Let me just copy that and say grades. Okay, let me say print out. So I don't want to mess up that data. That's why I'm copying it. Okay. If I print out this copy, it's just going to print out this guy again. Now, if I say print copy, it's equal to np. That's I'm calling the numpy method now as array. Okay, and I can say grades copy. Let's see, don't get an error. Okay, so yeah, so I can print out what's this grades copy. And now we get to notice the key difference right now. Now, if you notice something that there are no commas here, like the way we usually have them in list. So let me just print out so that we can see that. Print grades so that you can see it's ready. Yeah. So yeah, you can actually see that there's a difference in the representation, right? Right. Can you see the difference?
I can see the difference.
Yeah.
Yes, I can see the difference.
Now, if I do something like times two right here, notice the change. Now, can we see that? Now, in this case, we are not duplicating the list. It's actually iterating over each of these items in the list and is multiplying times two. Can we see that? Mhm. Can we see? So 7 times 134.
I can see.
Yeah, if I do divided by 2, let's see, hopefully I don't get an error. Yeah, so you can see that it is giving us that division. So basically, the best way you can see it is NumPy is more of a mathematical model. So it's generally one of the most powerful tools we use in data science. Okay. Now another thing you can do is the shape. Okay. Want to see what how many dimensions the array is spread in. This is a one-dimensional array. So it's just telling us that we have um, a row, a single row actually with 15 columns. Okay, because we have 15 data now. So in columns, it's just a single row in 15 columns, right? Do you get it? So that's why it's just a comma, right? So it's telling us that we have one row with 15 columns or 15 okay 15 values. So you can see this is just a one-dimensional array, so we just have 15 values here. There are so many things we can do with NumPy. Okay, we won't be able to touch all of them, but I will just show you a demonstration and would I would recommend you go to tutorial spot, get familiar with it. I will send some materials. So I just want to demonstrate so we can see some of the cool things we can do with NumPy. But quickly, I can see first data. Let's say I don't have a data and I can do something like NumPy dot let's say zeros. and I can set something like shape right now is equal to 5 5. Okay, I'm going to print out test data. We're going to see something very amazing. Now, can you see this? Now, so it's going to print out the data for me that has 5 rows and 5 columns. Okay, so we say 5 by 5. Can we see that? So we have 5 rows: one, two, three, 4, and 5. So this is a two-dimensional array actually. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we can have multi-dimensional array, and I can do something like, let's see if I can make it two. Let's see if I want to run into a mess. Okay, so 5 5 2. So you can see that it's just going to group them in twos and of 5 columns. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5. All of that. But we don't want to do something like